Whenever you're ready.
Yep. Sorry, just checking. Okay.
Mic check.
This is Pass the Rock. This is Pass the Rock.
Oh shit! 1 second.
This
I forgot.
Pass the Rock.
I forgot that's defaulted to loop. I gotta turn the loops off.
Oh,
And we're back.
Oh, that was good.
We'll go to our semi-sober Eagles fan, Mr. Bad Internet Connection himself, LC's.
Thank you, fellas. I have now gone from outside of the Canes, inside the Canes. As you can tell, there is nobody here. There are no Caniacs to be had. I am sorry, guys. I tried. I'm kind of stuck in here. I don't know what to do. So we'll see if I can find my way out of here at some point. They did. They locked the door on me. They left the fryers on. So if I can find the chicken,
Seems
there might
dangerous.
be a chance. There might be a chance. You guys are gonna have to break me out. Yeah.
Find the freezers.
Yeah, well, don't go into the walk-in though. Just prop it open. You can never be too sure.
You're right, and being in having been in the service industry, the walk-in, it gives me a lot of bad PTSD. So I kind of want to avoid that area.
Patrick, you ever used the walk-in to hit a vape?
But
no, not a big vape guy myself. I mean,
not like the weed vape one.
Either way, I just don't really, never really had those.
That was when I found out it was clutch. It was my last restaurant I worked at. But
sense. I just have, I understand my self-control tendencies, and the vape's a bad idea for me.
Oh, no doubt. I had the same issue with the girlfriend all the time. She loves it. If I did it, I'd be a pacifier boy.
Just the money. Yeah. I would just be burning through so much money. Anyways.
Exactly.
Anyways, let's continue on with some football, gentlemen. Now, it's only fitting that we start off with the level that precedes the NFL. I'm looking at you, Bethke. You're rocking a Texas Longhorns hat. I'm gonna drag Patrick into the forefront with me as we talk football together, and we address and we mourn the hype that is the UT Longhorns mid-season hype. They fall to Oklahoma in the Red River rivalry, and it's they should have won that game, but at the same time, they kind of deserve to lose that game. Patrick, as a former attendee of the University of Texas for a year, 2 years.
I was enrolled. I was enrolled for a year.
There you go. All right.
Love it.
It's pretty
there
much
you go.
the way.
Well,
the only way to do that.
You know, at least you got to say you were a Longhorn for a little bit, right? How did you feel watching that that 4-play goal line stand from the OU Sooners? Less of a goal line stand and more of just like, what the fuck are you doing, Texas? Kind of a drive.
That was frustrating. I mean, obviously, I would say
the
thing I was most frustrated about is going to be the turnovers, and we'll get there. But that was very frustrating. It was honestly, it felt like just a poor sequence from the coaching staff, and that's weird because we don't get a whole lot of that. I feel like Sark's generally running a pretty good game. So I don't know. I'm not sure what to think about it overall. I don't think that. I mean, obviously you lose by a score, so every time you're down there and you don't score, you can say this is why we lost. But there were plenty of other reasons as to why they lost that game. That was dumb. I was at that point in the game, I was less mad about it because I was just like, all right, well, that's how this game goes sometimes against OU. Pretty much.
The final drive would be the more embarrassing part of all of it, really.
I mean, I just think the turnovers. I mean, if you don't turn the ball over 3 times, you win that game.
Well, even just when you grab the game back and you do everything to win the game that you shouldn't have won, and then you just lose it anyway, it's pretty frustrating. But honestly, my biggest takeaway is more or less, yes, that was bad, but number one, doesn't matter if they win or lose, Quinn Ewers still has big things to fix for this team to actually unlock its potential.
Yeah, and
Number
that's why the
two.
Manning hype's real for next year.
Yes. Number 2.
Yeah.
Big 12 is kind of doo-doo. We're probably seeing this game in a rematch.
Yeah, unless something
and the
crazy
only
happens.
reason, and that's it. And that's the biggest reason I say that is not a disrespect to the Big 12 as much as saying all Texas has to do is handle their business. And we're almost 90, like at this point, we're almost guaranteed that game back. I don't even know what the records look like, who could win what. I mean, we're too early in the season for it to be mathematically impossible, even if Texas won out. But I'm pretty sure we're not far out, right? So Texas wins. That's it. Easy enough. And they didn't even fall that far. Don't they like 8th now?
I think they dropped. I thought they dropped out of the top 10, but I might be wrong.
Yeah, I thought I saw it. Either way, I thought they didn't fall far. People are expecting this rematch, is what I'm saying. And people
For
definitely
sure,
expect
yeah.
Texas
They
to
can
win the
definitely
next
Pretty
time.
much
Not saying they will,
penciled.
but Texas definitely is expected to win.
9th. They dropped to 9th.
And I said the biggest issue is for me with this game was that OU got embarrassed so thoroughly. Brent Venables is not just a washover coach. I think he's a good coach that will probably have that job for a little bit. And this was the necessary step forward for that program. They've got a decent quarterback there too. So I think it was just a natural couple of things happening. Texas not being ready entirely for the game, motivated for the game, felt like one of them. Sark talking about how it's just another game. Doesn't feel as awesome in retrospect as it did in the beginning of the day where I was like, business as usual. I love it, But at the end of the day, Quinn is still the biggest concern I have with this team. Not that he's not one of the most talented players on the field. It's that he's being handicapped and he's still not doing what he's needing to do, It's worrying. It's very worrying how this offense is set up for him to succeed, and very much in this game, especially, it's him that seems to not be, he's the missing connectivity piece right now, for sure.
Yeah. I mean, it was really frustrating to see how inconsistent he is this year. I mean, same story as last year, but there looked like there was glimpses of him taking the steps that you want to see, especially with a team that has like genuine playoff aspirations. Like this could be the last time the Big 12 has a representative that could, be in the playoff, the college football playoff. And this Texas team feels different, or it did feel different coming into this game. And then you have that major letdown. Patrick, you said it, the 3 turnovers, and then you can't excuse that four plays, 1 yard. You just got to gain 1 goddamn yard. Get the ball in there. You escape with the win that you don't deserve, but you get anyways. And you need to get those whenever you can, right? You need to take advantage of those situations when the other team is like, lets you back in. Because OU let them back in, and they shut the door right then and there. And at least for me, when I was watching the game, I was like, yeah, OU's winning this game. Doesn't matter what happens. I know that there was more opportunities later, but for me, that was definitive. This game is over. Go back to the drawing board for next week or the week after that, whenever the next game happens to be.
Yeah, I actually don't even have the schedule in front of me.
Texas says Houston. I don't know who Oklahoma's playing.
Yeah, well, Houston's another one of the same parts of this Big 12 right now where I don't know that I put anything past anybody, but I don't know if there's anybody that good either. So yeah, I mean, that's pretty much it. I didn't even watch any of the rest of college football. I saw that Prime got another win and that everyone was mocking them, even though technically they're still a shitty team, or they were a shitty team last year. So it's kind of a weird one. Yeah, I don't think there was any. What other college football? There's any upsets? A&M survived off a weird play.
How can we forget, bro? How can we forget the Mario Cristobal in Miami Hurricanes?
Oh yeah, duh. Almost like I wasn't actually trying to hint at that. That was definitely a forget.
Actually, real quick.
No. Ooh. I felt like we just got
we were
paused there
saying
for a
that
second.
Mario couldn't see through his crystal balls.
That's true. Mario couldn't see his crystal balls. This man had the audacity to run a regular ass run play when all he had to do was take just a victory formation, QB kneel. That's it. Any 12-year-old from 2010 playing NCAA could have told you to do that.
I disagree. In video games,
And then
I never do that. I always do this in video games, and so part of me is like,
well, that's the thing. Yeah, this isn't Madden though. Like, this is...
no, I know, but I was just like, but I just want for the record, I'm always going to do that in a video game every time. Give me
it's I've never seen anything like it. It's absolutely hilarious, and we're
Not
gonna
for that
force
kid.
/ forward tease. He's not the one who called the play. We're gonna tease another funny fourth down at the end of the game. Take a knee that we'll get to later.
Yeah. So they that was pretty bad, and the man had already done it once at Oregon apparently, in his short stint at Oregon.
What did he explain it? I didn't hear anything post game.
No, I didn't listen to the Mario Crystal Balls podcast either, but apparently he had done this at Oregon, because that video evidence was submitted to the court of Twitter, and public opinion has ruled that he's a multiple time repeat offender and needs to be brought to justice. And I just want to know, this is the best the U has been in a while, so that's important to say. At the same time, those kids should be allowed to hit the transfer portal after that, I feel like.
Okay, here's his quote. Not going to make an excuse for it. Say we should have done this or that. That's it. We should have done it. Sometimes you get carried away with just finish the game and run it. I should have stepped in and said, hey, just take a knee. So I guess he was saying that they weren't aware of the situation. Like, players on the field weren't aware of the situation, and
sounds like they were just trying to maybe.
And no one was communicating. No one was communicating to them. Just take a knee, because one of them has like a mic in their helmets, right? QB probably.
QB, but I mean, even if the offensive play calling is coming from upstairs, isn't that shit all going through the same coach headset too?
Well, I just wonder if what he's saying is they were told basically autopilot, run the clock, and then no one ever stepped in to be like, hey guys, it's time to stop running the. I don't know, not to make an excuse, just that's my rush. That's what I'm thinking is the rationale there. What happened?
Yeah, and either way, people are just going to look at you like, oh,
the whole if
take the process.
If it's everybody's job, it's nobody's job, and no one took charge of. I'm going to tell you guys when to take a knee.
Maybe that needs to be the co-responsibility of the hold me back guy.
The hold me back guy and the when to take a timeout guy. You'd think
somebody needs to step up and do double duty, or let's just hire another. Create jobs. Let's do that.
That's what Pass the Rock's about, actually.
Job creation. This is a platform
because we're trying to create a job that's better than whatever we're doing right now.
Exactly.
Very true. Very true. But just to let you all know, like from a historical perspective, the QB kneel was created because a play like this happened in the NFL. Lo and behold, if I remember correctly, it was the New York Giants who were the victims of a handoff fumble that led to a victory. I believe it was a game against the Pittsburgh Steelers. And the year after that, the victory formation was created. One of the maybe
Herm Edwards.
I want to say a miracle in the Meadowlands. Yeah. Oh, he was a Steeler at one point, I think.
Yeah, no,
but I believe Miracle in the Meadowlands. That's what that was.
Deshaun was the second one, and then the first one was Herm Edwards. But I thought the Herm Edwards one was weird. Like he jumped over the pile and got the ball, or I forget how that went. But it was Herm Edwards. I remember that would be because I saw the play the whole life, and then I never knew it was Herm Edwards until someone interviewed him and he was gloating about it.
Yeah. So November 19th, 1978. Yeah, it was a fullback. Larry Sonka fumbled the ball,
Mm.
and Edwards picked it up and ran it 26 yards for the game-winning touchdown. That's how the victory QB kneel formation was created because of that play from the Miracle in the Meadowlands. I don't know why I got the
I did
Pittsburgh
not know
Steelers
that.
on that one,
The
but
more you know.
you're right. Look at it. Look at that. Me looking like a bad Eagles fan, not remembering one of their most famous plays. Shame. Quite shameful.
That was basically.
But
the
I think
Eagles
that's going to
Super
go
Bowl
ahead and
for, like, the
transition
first
us now
60
to the
years of their
NFL.
existence.
First of all, the 1960 NFL Championship was their Super Bowl.
No, it's Mickey
But
Mouse
anyway,
Super Bowl.
transition. Did you give that song a listen? Anyway, sorry, that's a shout out to Melonhead, who'll never see this. But yeah, let's go ahead and talk about it. We'll talk about the NFL and the Eagles to start this NFL segment. We'll just touch briefly on this. This was the best performance of the season to this point. 23-14 victory over the Los Angeles Rams. Listen, the offense kind of finally looked like it was supposed to look. This looks like the 2022 Eagles offensively. The defense, Jalen Carter, absolute monsters season to start the year for the rookie. They get out of there, no injuries, no real concerns. Everything looks like it's supposed to. The only real concern is that the red zone offense still looks bad. It still just looks funky and labored. I don't know what's going on. There's more talk about the stupid quarterback sneak. I don't know what to say about it at this point other than cry about it some more, NFL. It's just a quarterback sneak. It's a
I'm
football
sorry,
play. It's been
there
around
are
forever.
medical
Deal with
reasons
it.
for which you need to respect and understand that we are out for player safety first and foremost here at the NFL. Okay, Bob?
Then change the turf to grass. If you're really that concerned about safety.
I don't care. That was the funniest
Hear
shit
me,
I've
NFL?
ever seen. Is who's on the competition committee this year? Because it's I can put
I have
I
no
bet we
idea,
could probably put
but-
wagers on who brought this idea to the table on how to get it outlawed. Because you got to admit, this was some pretty clever political shit for them to be busting out the medical excuses. The NFL is using medical excuses. That's amazing. They're like, come on, guys,
Perfect.
this is insane.
I think I said this in our other
And all
chat
because
that
of the New York Giants failing.
it's their version of a Homeland Security.
You
They
know,
can just do whatever they want. They
we're
just call it-
sneaking in the Patriot Act because everyone's scared
Call
of
it
terrorism.
yeah. Everyone's scared of concussion, so
You
now
know?
everything down to player safety.
Now we just have to. Sorry, Philly. We just
Well.
It's got to go. Is my
If
dad
you're
still
wondering
there? My
who is
granddad?
on the company,
Oh, there was a reason I asked.
Stephen Jones is on here.
Oh, it's Steven now.
Jones
So
is on the
Steven
competition
took it
committee.
from Jerry. Okay. That's
Ron
fair, that's fair.
Rivera,
Please give me a giant.
John Mara of the Giants. You have got to be 3/4 of the NFC East rivals are. So the Eagles have some representation in the competition committee. It
that's
all makes sense
amazing.
now. This
That's
is the
amazing.
ultimate witch hunt.
I fucking
Well,
love
you
the
know what?
NFL.
Well, you know what's funny is those guys are doing such a good job of making their own team successful through that.
Yeah, I don't think you need to worry about it, Caesar. You usually need to laugh with the rest of us on this one.
And like, the thing that bothers me about this, if I may, just on a little tangent here, the conversion on this. People will complain, oh, it's automatic. It's only automatic when the Eagles do it. When they do it, it's 92.5% of the time with Jalen Hurts at quarterback. Do they convert
So
on
you guys
3rd
using
and 1
buzzers?
or 4th and 1? And then the NFL, the rest of the NFL, 81%. 81%. Bro,
And how many of
Run
these
the play
times
better.
does Lane Johnson
get a lineman
been
that
on
knows how to
time?
get low. Every time. That man has never had a false start in his life. You can't prove it because it's
Oh, I
never
know.
happened.
I've watched them not call it for 2 seasons now. It's impressive. No.
Well,
Yeah, I don't
because
have
there's
much
nothing to
more on
call.
that other than antagonism. All my notes say is fuck the Eagles. I just
There's
saw that
nothing
you
to
guys
call.
won midway through the game. I think I was watching the Rangers at that point. Right? Is that math? Rangers were playing something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's in the
Oh,
evening.
Yeah.
they were the end of the
Afternoon.
Eagles. Yeah, the end of the Eagles game kind of slid right into the last 3 innings of the Orioles Rangers game at that point. But yeah, no, this was a dominating performance in the second half of the game. The St. Louis Rams, the Los Angeles Rams, only crossed into the Eagles territory one time in the second half, and that drive finished on their side of the field. So the defense, after
Stafford give away
letting
cookies?
Cooper Kupp, Puka Nakua just carve him. Yes.
I love it.
Yes. He also got driven into the ground in one of the most violent sacks you'll see this season from Jalen Carter. Just absolutely drove him right into the turf.
This is good.
But yeah,
This
other
is
than
very
that,
good.
this feels good for me personally because I was concerned that they wouldn't put it all together. They still haven't. There's still some issues, but if they keep improving week after week, especially when they get into the teeth of the schedule, we'll finally see where this team truly is at this point of the year. Let's go on and move on to the next team. The Vikings fall to the Kansas City Chiefs. Really played a. Well,
How many fumbles for the Vikings?
It shouldn't be too loud now, right?
no, it wasn't loud.
Okay. I was like, oh.
Okay. I think that's enough of the song.
It's just the background
Patrick's
for the
gonna let this
segment.
play all the way through. Oh, is it?
I don't know.
Fair
It's in
enough.
the background.
I thought we were gonna get like some other classic NFL music. That's fine. But yeah, Vikings fell.
It probably will be that in the actual. I don't know. We'll see, but okay, go ahead. Vikings are bad.
But yeah, no, the Vikings are indeed the refs. Again, weird calls. There was at least 3 penalties in that one near end of game sequence that involved the Kansas City Chiefs player having no helmet on, which is a clear cut penalty. You can't have your helmet off. You can't take your own helmet off on the field during the game, during play, which is what
NFL is not concerned with player
you
safety.
can, I think, during the
and they've never pretended to be, so it's fine.
They are right now.
That was
only when
20
it comes to
seconds.
sneaks.
No, honestly though, I did see this a little bit. So the Chiefs weren't flagged, but they told the dude to put his helmet back on.
They did. Yep.
See, you know what?
The
This
refs
is why I'm
told
starting
him-
to wonder if I'm not just taking a healthy dose of copium, or if I just am glad that the Cowboys are continuing to spin their wheels, because maybe this fixes out. Maybe we're all just coming second place until they're over Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs. We have to buy into the conspiracy now.
Well, it's weird because you would think, because most people would like try to tie it with gambling, but you would think if it was tied to gambling, then the Chiefs wouldn't be winning as much as they do because the books would make more money when they lose.
Oh, I never tie it to gambling. I always tie it to the entertainment product. If I ever was to be sold that the leagues are scripted, it's not the gambling I would ever worry about. It's the narratives that they love so much, because that's what makes so much money, keeps people talking. I mean, honestly, like that if the leagues were, that's why I always joke about the NBA draft being rigged, because it's just too fucking convenient.
That's the only place they can do it. You can't actually do it in the games.
Well, hey, theoretically.
It involve way too much.
Are the birds even real, Patrick?
Player involvement, and
we know.
I think we know that none of these players would be keeping their mouths shut if the league was like, "Hey, I'm going to need you to go ahead and lose tonight."
No, for real. But yes, if that conspiracy was to ever be true, I don't really think it would be as gambling based as it would be favoritism, right? I mean, that's the argument that they would have done it for the Lakers in those Kobe years that we were talking about earlier, or in the basketball segment, where favoritism, big market, whatever you want to convince yourself of, that's usually the slant. And the Chiefs may not be big market, but Patrick Mahomes is certainly as big of a star as they've ever had. So if you wanted to believe in that conspiracy, that would be why. I'm just getting carried away because that's what I do. And it's kind of funny because it directly affects Caesar's team more than mine at the moment.
But going back into this game, though, for now, yes.
I mean, I hope it would affect
but just going into this game or coming out of this game, yeah, that's fair. But on this one, Patrick, Jay Jettas, Justin Jefferson on IR after this game. That's a rough one, especially considering the schedule for the Vikings isn't looking too great right now. The hope for any sort of a comeback into playoff relevancy isn't looking great right now, and you lose your best player. No thanks in part to what is considered to be the worst turf in the NFL right now. Or at least that's what I've heard on various different NFL podcasts. Anything that I hear about the Vikings turf is just it's worse than it was last year, and it wasn't good last year. So I don't know how you accidentally downgrade on turf, but that's just far out of my realm of
you just roll out the same
knowledge
turf
or expertise. But going into
some form of cost cutting, likely.
I guess shit, maybe something. It has to be, right? But coming out of this game, you could look at, and we'll go into the preview. But you're looking at a team that I don't know if they're ready to do a fire sale or not. And especially with Kirk Cousins having been asked this question earlier, kind of dancing around the idea of waiving his no trade clause. So who knows? But I think this game that follows this Kansas City Chiefs loss, if they were to lose to the Bears, I think then we can expect to maybe see a fire sale of some sort. But I'm getting ahead of myself. Let's go on. Do we have any thoughts from you, Patrick, on this game? Like, just anything that you see, some sort of fire hope from this team? Because I wasn't able to watch it. Becky, I don't think watch it either.
I saw what I've seen from this team for the last few years, which is they're right there. They're right there, and then just didn't quite do it. It's whatever. Jefferson's probably not actually that hurt. I think it's the hamstrings. They're like, just take your time because we're not going to do anything this year anyways. No sense risking you on that.
And Jordan Hall will be throwing to you in a couple weeks anyway.
And then I think I read that Jordan Addison today was listed as questionable, so I don't know what's going on with him. Yeah, it's a bad week for football for me, but I didn't care as much because the Rangers won. So,
fucking facts.
I was gonna have that back.
Rangers covering up 2 stinky turds for me this weekend. I appreciate it, boys.
Whenever the Texas OU game ended, at that point I had watched 5 football games this season for my teams, and 4 football games for my teams this season, and they had turned the ball over 12 times total.
Yeah, that's painful.
So that's kind of what my year's been. The Vikings only fumbled once this year, or this week. I mean,
hell yeah, that's fucking.
And it was the first play of the game, right?
It was during the first series. There was 10 seconds gone in the game. So it was either the first or second snap from scrimmage. Yeah.
My notes are pretty simple. I still would love to get into, especially a quarterback trade in the midseason. Damn, the NFL needs to get on that. But I still think the Vikings are going to bumblefuck their way through the season and maybe possibly compete for a divisional title.
The division sucks.
That's what it is.
Depends. Yeah, it depends on if Detroit's able to just hold everyone off, because they're right now poised to do so.
It's set up.
It's just whether or not they actually will sustain it for another 12 weeks or whatever.
Detroit looks
it's set up. Yeah. It's set up for sure. We just
as long as they don't get any injuries.
even still, dude, they might have a little leeway. I'm not gonna lie.
I believe Detroit.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I still would like to think Detroit, but I feel like the Vikings have just enough talent to do it, especially since the fumble thing. The two factors is they had an excessive amount of fumbles. The injuries are a problem, whatever. And then the second thing is it's just like hilarious to me that they're truly this one score team kind of thing. Like it's just hilarious that it just for more often than not, that team is going to stay in the game. And like, I would like to think that the tides can kind of turn in your favor if you keep that consistency. That's why I'm like, and there's just enough wiggle room for that to work.
And to be fair, at least with this past week, the Chiefs are like the one NFL team that can do what the NBA teams do, where it's like, we'll give you a 40% until about December.
Yeah. Exactly. Yep.
Right.
Yeah, and they did, and they do very frequently.
Although I will say this, that Chiefs offense is not nearly as dangerous as it's been in years past. Now that could just be a product if they are taking it. They're not going 100% like you guys are indicating. But I mean, we'll see. We'll see because
it's tough.
There's some trade rumors going on with them.
Hill.
Who's the trade target for them?
They did just fine last year. That's the problem.
I'm just saying.
The idea is they're going to go back into the well and get Mecole Hardman. So he was a gadget player, a deep threat for them last year.
Is he with the Jets?
His best season. I think he averaged 12. Yeah, he's with the Jets, and the Jets wide receiving room is a mess because of Aaron Rodgers having his guys, and that is not an Aaron
I don't think
Rodgers,
you got to downgrade though. I think you better keep all the wide receivers you can keep with that fucking roster, man. If that quarterback is going to give you anything and keep this moving forward, you might need to give him every single thing you got. Might need to double down and get some more.
You're not wrong on that, but also just spam the Garrett Wilson button. It worked for Justin Fields the last 2 weeks where he just spammed DJ Moore, and look at that.
Oh, buddy, we are going to talk about
he has an NFL leading 8 touchdowns in 2 weeks. Oh. Well, with that said, let's go ahead and move on to a hot button topic here. Hey, you see what I did there? The Dallas Cowboys up against the San Francisco 49ers laid an egg on Sunday Night Football. I thought this would be my game of the week. This continues to be a cursed segment.
So did the NFL.
Where everything that wins that prediction, the NFL is just out to get me, man. They're out to get me. They're out to get my football team. They just want to embarrass me, but it's not going to work. But what was embarrassing was just the all-around performance that I saw from the Dallas Cowboys. I picked them to win the game. I had a belief that defense was going to step up and make Brock Purdy look like what he is, and that is an average quarterback who happens to be in one of the best situations in the NFL. It did not look that way. I was annoyed, but not that annoyed. But somebody who should be annoyed, Dallas Cowboys fans, you've been promised a better offense or a Dak-friendly offense, and that offense on Sunday night looked like it was pulling teeth. There was no imagination. There was no creativity. There was no rhythm. No nothing, at least from my perspective. And then the defense itself, I don't know. They came out looking flat to me. You come into this season, or you come into this game as an organization saying it's a measuring stick game. You come out of the game losing, and you have multiple players saying that game was not indicative of who this team is and what they are. Which one is it? I don't know. I think the Dallas Cowboys, after this game, they're still somewhere like in the top 10 in the NFL, just in terms of talent. I think they can right the ship, but I don't see a Super Bowl contender if I was just to base it off one game. Now, that's not to say that they can't turn things around. However, I don't trust Mike McCarthy to be the guy to lead a turnaround when an offense becomes this stagnant, because this is what happened to him in Green Bay those last couple of years. He led a stagnant offense that looked very similar to this. But those are just my thoughts on it. Bethke, I'm going to let you have the floor. I want to hear your thoughts on this. What did you think of the game? What do you think post-game now that you've had some days to kind of simmer, think about it? Just where are you at,
I ended up potting plants throughout the last half of the game. Just, you know what I mean? Just watching hilarity ensue. For me, I have to relate this to a popular line that gets thrown out. It'll get thrown out next year after election cycle. I know that Patrick's familiar with this lyric. Meet the new boss, same as the old boss. Ooh, Mike McCarthy, it's going to be tough beating those allegations throughout this season. And that was something we definitely all knew was coming into focus in this season, which is most likely the make or break year for his tenure. I know Jerry will never admit that and will always defend them publicly in season because I don't think Jerry's going to fire dudes in the middle of the season anymore, too often at least.
It would have to be real bad.
Yeah, I mean, it could. I might root for that, but we'll see. We'll take it a day at a time. I know after the game, I was sure ready to hit the button. My finger was on the button. But, yeah, so there's a lot here. I'm going to go ahead and just get Dak out of the way because it's really not that deep with him. It's just as simple as he doesn't have enough YOLO in him. And I bring that up because it's just like, at least Tony made losing kind of fun. And Dak just makes losing really sad. And I just think that summarizes it a lot.
Romo came up under coaches that were a little more willing to let him have fun. Dak came up under Garrett.
Yeah. And yeah. I don't even want to keep going in on him any more than Twitter already did. But I did want to say that, goddamn Twitter, thank you so much for that. I needed every single joke. They were all amazing.
He was a 4th round pick. I don't know why we're acting like he's fucking Peyton Manning.
Yeah, but there's also, I mean, Brady was a 6th round pick. It's more about the development and the lack thereof, and the same excuses every time he goes to the podium.
This is more of what you should expect rather than the craziness that was the start to his career.
And it sucks too, because here's the last part of the Dak thing that I have to mention is, even though I have sugar plum fairies dancing into my head of any potential quarterback, all these guys are like, you don't want the Chad Hutchison years. Bitch, I was born into that. I'm ready to go. I'm ready to get sucky again if I've got to. Don't fucking test me, first of all. Like, I don't give a shit about Dakota Prescott or the Cowboys sucking that badly, because mediocrity is all I've known since I've been an adult with this team. Anyway, Dak's still got time, because here's the point. No matter how I feel about Dak, that fucker is still owed a shit ton of money next year, and he has got no sort of real, it's just not feasible for the Cowboys to get the fuck out of this. I will say, though, I don't care if they have to pay him more down the road. I'd rather not get the extension done at this point and hope that this problem solves itself, even though I know it'll just end up getting him paid more down at the end of the day. It feels a lot like Kirk Cousins leaving Washington to me, or is how it should feel. I don't think that's how Jerry's going to handle it, but it does feel like we're kind of getting to the point and where the obvious is here. Now let someone else go pay him, and let's figure out another direction, even if that puts us in quarterback hell, because I'd rather be in quarterback hell than quarterback mid, and I don't care what any fucking professional tells me. I know it. I don't especially with Pat Mahomes, especially with these new rules, Caleb Williams coming out. Fuck that bullshit. Suck my dick. Fucking slant routes. Really, just hella slant routes. Did you see the linebacker Fred Warner?
I saw someone tweeted that.
Fred Warner, yeah. Oh my god, that was a play.
Go ahead, Patrick. What did you say?
I saw someone tweeted out the slant routes will continue until morale improves.
Yeah, exactly. That was a great tweet. No, dude, and then so the linebacker for the 49ers, Fred Warner, has a podcast with his wife or girlfriend or something, right? And they were talking about the game, and he literally just talked about how all that we run is crosses and slants. And so that was why he was just jumping that shit the whole time. And I was dying laughing. The last
you have to do, and I think it was probably man, someone on the radio was talking about pretty much the Cowboys don't do what the 49ers do, which is you have like 3 or 4 formations and you just put people in motion and run different plays off the same formations so that they don't know what's coming every time.
Yeah.
Just kind of basic stuff.
There's no
creativity there.
There's no creativity to this offense. Nothing. This is a really
From the
simple,
no identity
basic
offense to the
line
no
up and go.
creativity offense.
Apparently the Texas Coast offense is just be bad.
Texas Coast
like,
is whatever
listen,
the fuck the vibes are.
It's pay a 4th wide receiver the money of a 1st wide receiver, and then
So they're also claiming that McCarthy's having Dak not actually do reads.
Not a shot at CD.
And
maybe a shot at
we'll talk about CD. We're gonna talk about CD actually in just a second. The issue that I'm hearing, or at least the stuff that the Dak defenders are still coming out with, is that this is the coaching is telling him not to go into the 3rd or 4th read, that they are telling him to make the quick decisions to all these guys. And maybe that makes more sense. I'll be honest with you. I'm not doing a lot of Dak Prescott stuff because I'm repulsed by it at this point, frankly. Like if I need to still tell people why I have this feeling, then like, fuck you, man, is all I gotta say. Spam 88 is a big part of my day, a big part of my deal moving forward. CD doesn't need to be like, he's not maybe the most elite guy in the world, but this was embarrassing.
I think the problem is he's the only option.
Yeah, maybe, but the all 22 beat Dak's ass in this game, man. That shit was nasty. And CD has spent the last 2 games obviously not with the team. I like how he's handling his anger. They clearly don't incentivize paying him. At this point, you might as well just fucking tank this offense and flip his ass for assets if this is the way you're going to treat this thing. Because, I just don't know what we're doing here. Like, Gallup can get a deal with no problem.
They signed up for Michael Gallup, so.
No, for real. And it comes back to, as much as I respect and like Will McClay and the change that has come about with this Dallas Cowboys talent on the roster and the drafting and the undrafted and all that good shit, the signings, the trades, whatever. The biggest beef I have with it is and maybe it's not Will alone, they are in love with these guys that they can get on these fucking bullshit deals. And we just saw, not trying to be an asshole, with LVE, it's probably time to go be a family man. He's a great athlete. When we drafted him, we knew he could be a potential Hall of Fame talent. The neck injuries, the back injuries, that's already been a huge factor. God love him. I don't know that he's that smart either because he's a terrible run defender. And we just picked up Rashaan Evans, who was on the fucking Eagles practice squad. And I'll be honest with you, that might be an upgrade. That might actually, he might actually be more useful at this point. No, Caesar, you don't understand how bad all these, we're talking about the 49ers laughed in our face because we can't stop the run. And 90% of it is because our linebackers aren't doing a goddamn thing. And then you got a bunch of small ass guys in secondary. Bunch of pass rushers. The team is atrocious. Although the one good position, Jonathan Hankins did have a nice game within all that bullshit. Ultimately,
I would just say this about the Rashaan Evans. Listen, I'm just going to say this about him. He was on the practice squad of what is probably one of the top or bottom 10 linebacking cores in the league.
Well, I'm telling you, 32 is the Dallas Cowboys
I wouldn't
right
call
now.
that.
Go ask a professional. They're going to tell you 32 is the Dallas Cowboys. And that's only if Micah stays in his position, because Micah's probably going to have to play an actual linebacker position. And honestly, I don't know that I hate that. I really don't. And I know that we're supposed to exploit Micah, but this defensive player of the year bullshit's annoying me now. I don't want Khalil Mack. I don't want Joey Bosa, bro. I want you to be somebody that's actually a meaningful player for this football team. And then I don't want to.
It would be if he had help.
Yeah, but it's also not that poverty. The issue is not just the talent alone. The run defense is the biggest issue because none of the rest of this is going to work if this is consistently a problem. And I don't know why they have done nothing to remedy that. And I guarantee you will not do anything to remedy that by the deadline. So that's why they're a paper tiger. They could be a 12-5 team to finish the season, but they're going to be a paper tiger.
I mean,
I think one of the biggest problems is that there was a lot of maybe I don't know from the outside looking in, a lot of hope that Nazi Smith, who is a big bodied guy, he is a run defender by just the nature of how he's built, right? 6'3", 350, if I remember correctly. You wanted the idea of like this is going to be your nose tackle. The problem is you're relying on a rookie defensive tackle to fix your running issues because you are over reliant on these gap penetrating pass rushing defensive tackles who are lighter. They are on the lighter end.
That's another
You're right.
point.
They
I
much
heard
bunch of pass rushers, and you can't have and you can't have a successful linebacking core if the people in front of them can't hold up, right? If they can't hold up on the gaps, they can't shoot those gaps and get into the backfield, and it's going to make any linebacking core look bad, especially one that already comes in with a guy like LVE who physically talented, injury prone. Maybe doesn't have the greatest football IQ.
Probably a family man after this year, honestly. Like, I mean, that was not good. And that was the injury they were all worried about. And like I said, him and Tyron, it might be time for both of them to be family men after this season.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think you're wrong on that at all. It just depends on how the front office fucking sees it, because we've seen how loyal they can be to some of these guys because they can get them on those bullshit deals.
Yeah,
like you said.
I think DeMarcus Lawrence will probably end up being a cap casualty at the end of this year too, and then that'll probably end up being a big focal point of them hopefully rebuilding a defense around Micah Parsons. Again, I mean, I still feel like you can perfect this defense, and I'm still going to be waiting on the other guy to get his shit together, and then I'm going to get all the excuses about why it's Mike McCarthy's fault, it's Jason Garrett's fault. Anyway, the only last thing I wanted to say is, and maybe it is both of their faults. I'm just saying, 4 leaves everything left to the imagination at this point.
Yeah.
The only last part I wanted to say is
I think coach and quarterback are deserve.
Yeah, and maybe
I was going to say I think coach and
it.
quarterback deserve a lot of blame. It's never just one.
Well, who hires both of those guys?
Yeah, well, who keeps the complacency in office? I agree there, and that was where my last point was. Yes, America, I do actually enjoy watching the miserable Jones family in a blowout. It's probably one of the only things about a blowout that's fun for me.
I think the problem is that's the only time they're miserable, and then 2 minutes later, Jerry's like, "Well, that was there's another couple $1 million in the bank account, and move on."
Exactly. The only person I don't is Charlotte Jones, who I actually do think is on a mission to do as much good in the world to counteract all of the bad her father has done. So that's the one Jones family member that I'm always like, can she just get out of the shot? Just get her out of the shot. Just give me all the weird airhead looking Arkansas hillbilly boys talking about, Daddy, we didn't win again. That's okay, Daddy. Dak Prescott's got us. Hey, and honestly, fuck the quarterback carousel.
Well,
Denver,
I'm glad you could get that off your chest.
1-for-1 trade. Would I sell myself for Russell Wilson?
Hell, I don't think you guys have the cap room for that.
Yeah, that's fair.
I don't think you guys have the cap room for that. Well, I don't think anybody does.
Yeah, because you can't even do like pick person for person swaps with the fucking bullshit NFL rules.
Yeah, those cap rules are a little too weird. But glad you could get that off
Kirk Cousins for Dak
your chest. And I was correct.
No.
You're just moving laterally. But
it's a shorter contract.
I was correct. This was our most. You're right. The contract's up after this season. So yeah, this was the most lengthy discussion of the recap, like I thought it'd be, because I knew you, Ben. I knew you'd have something to get off your chest, and I'm glad you did. But now, let's take a step back. Let's breathe, fellas. Before we dive into the dumpster that is the Denver Broncos, we're going to talk about it briefly because I relish in the failures of Sean Payton. And this team is just objectively so fucking funny. Just everything about him is goofy. So let's start with the coach and the quarterback. Gentlemen, I kind of was talking about this earlier during our pre-production meeting. But there was a lot of resources dumped into these two gentlemen right here. And I want to let you know what it's all going to cost the family that owns the Denver Broncos.
Talking about
If you
Waltons,
combine the
right?
contracts, yes, the Walton family,
the Walmart people,
owners of the Walmart. Yes. So, not that this is I don't know,
one of the teams that
an
they're
insignificant
involved in.
amount. I believe so. But this, not that this is an insignificant amount to them or a significant amount to them, whichever one applies more aptly. But they have committed $90 million to Sean Payton over the next 5 years. And if you know anything about coaching contracts, those are guaranteed. So they could fire him. They still have to pay him that money. And then you look at Russ's contract. He is owed $242 million over the next, I believe, 5 seasons. If I have that written down, that man is going to get paid. And he cannot be moved. And you gave up 3 players and 4 draft picks for him. And what is it getting you? It's getting you one of the worst starts in franchise history. You had one of the... Thank you for that one, Patrick. Kevin James there, for anybody who's wondering.
Oh,
Sean Payton.
I still can't believe that's a real movie.
But I just want to look into this because it is.
It's worth.
I'm glad it's
going
made
over,
for moments like this.
down
But I just
the
want to talk about this because, we don't
and
follow the AFC West.
Family's family and Peyton's family and how that all came together. But that's a topic for another time.
Fair enough.
Yes. Yeah, but I just want to talk about this, though. You go out and you traded draft picks for a retired head coach. For a retired coach who went on the campaign trail for the Dallas Cowboys job. And then when it looked like this guy felt that he can go and get the Broncos job, what does he do? Unprompted. Nobody asked him. He says, Nathaniel Hackett, didn't say any names, but he said the Denver Broncos coaching job was the worst he's ever seen. And then he goes and loses to that same coach this past Sunday with one of the worst quarterbacks I've ever seen in Zach Wilson leading the charge.
I wouldn't
There's
say ever.
never
Zach
been
Wilson's not
something
that
more
bad, but
beautifully
he's like that next tier up.
He is to me. I don't know. He's okay. The worst quarterback I've ever seen, Nathan Peterman,
Russell.
because his first 5 passes in the NFL. No, see, Jamarcus Russell. Yes, he was terrible, but at least you could say the guy had a historically great arm. Nathan Peterman, nothing, no tools, nothing. First 5 passes in his NFL career are 5 interceptions. That has never been done.
Yeah, there's so many. There's so many.
Now
guys.
you're just biased against Joe Webb.
Christian Ponder.
I will die on the hill that Nathan Peterman is the worst thing I've ever seen at quarterback. But that's a debate for another day. But you know what? We'll do that for the offseason. There you go. Stick around for the offseason and we'll do
ranking the worst quarterbacks of all time.
Oh, hell, worst quarterback fight club. Oh, there's something. All right.
Yeah, there's something. But anyway, back to this though. You just look at this team. They just invested so much into the wrong people. And what's like Russell Wilson, you could talk yourself into Russell Wilson at the time that they did it. But for that much, 3 players and 4 top of the round draft picks, like no quarterback at his age should be worth that amount.
I just can't wait.
But he's having a good
season.
season.
Teams
he's having a good season.
Traded for with Seattle are going to come out of the woodwork and be like, "Oh, yeah, we almost pulled off a deal. But glad we didn't." Jets got to be one of them. The
Eagles are one.
Yeah, the Eagles did. That's true. That's really the alternate reality. I screwed up. Yeah, that was my Namdi Asamoah too.
Yeah, that could have happened for you, but instead,
it's okay. This might be good too.
Praise
this current Eagles timeline might work for me as well, but we'll see. There's always a little bit of sweetness.
There's no guarantee on that
bitterness in my mind.
fair. But guys, I just want to get your opinions on this. Like, is this not one of the most like objectively hilarious dumpster fires you have seen outside of the divisions that you guys follow? Because for me, this is fun because they gave up 70 points. Historic. It's just a historic embarrassment. And then you just keep following up with just trash moment after trash moment. It just keeps piling up. And now you are at the city dump that is the Denver Broncos facility. I don't know.
Yeah, dude.
I just wanted to talk about it because I thought it was funny.
Thank God for Russell Wilson. He at least decreased the Cowboys suck. He at least decreased the Cowboys suck content by 20% this week. And that's doing something at least. Still a lot of it out there, but at least he chipped away at it, and I appreciate that.
True. And I think I also just appreciate Sean Payton for doing kind of the same. He sucks, yes, he does. But I do appreciate that he's so shitty that it comes around and becomes entertaining once you see it from the other side.
He said,
but
he said,
that's
you know what?
that's
I've already done
to
so
monitor.
much. Why don't I do the Urban Meyer thing? I respect that.
And just be shitty.
Get paid.
Hey, he needs to. So that means he needs to.
You see Urban on College Game Day,
and call him a piece of shit.
He regrets it. Nope.
I don't think he's regretted a damn thing in his entire life. So then, does that mean that Sean Payton is gonna, play handsy with somebody at a dive bar after a team's game? Is that what's happening?
It's on the table.
Because if we can go 2 for 2 on that,
wasn't already in his playbook like it was Urban's, and continues to be while he works on the set of whatever TV show he works for now.
No.
Does he have an asshole for a mouth?
Do we think this guy leaves this job? Does he? Is that it?
I mean, why
I can't
would
tell
he?
what that is. Why would he stay? I mean, of course you want to collect a paycheck, but also, do you want to be around a dumpster fire for the next 5 years? Because that's what this Broncos team is.
They're paying me, hell yeah.
I mean, they're already talking about trading. Anybody's on the trading block except Patrick Surtain, which bullshit. Put him on the trading block. You could get so much for the guy.
I agree.
I don't know.
I might give them
Eagles. You can't give him
Michael Gallup in the 5th.
Can't give him that.
Hey, you got a Russell out, Colorado State kid,
what about
Michael Gallup for Patrick Surtain straight up. Call it in.
What? What about
a receiver who's never produced, is injury prone, and paid?
Not never. He had one good season. Give him that. I think in 2020 he had a nice season. If I remember.
Yeah. Did he hit 1,000?
I think he did. I think he did have one. But anyway, maybe it was just short. Maybe it was like a 900-yard season. Anyway.
Hey, Jerry, you can have Jerry Jeudy and a Cortland Sutton, maybe for like a 5th-round pick. I don't know, 4th round.
Oh, they might take Cortland Sutton. But anyway, yeah, I'm glad for that. I also feel like corny DFW fans that are Bronco fans are only Bronco fans because of South Park, and that's it. And they should be shunned for that. South Park, I love that, but that's a weird thing to do.
I feel like you're calling one person out in particular, but I could be wrong.
If the shoe fits, the shoe fits.
I think Elway.
Fair.
I think Elway
is.
I don't think this person was alive for Elway.
Oh.
I don't think Jake Plummer did that much for a lot of people. If anybody should love Jake Plummer, it should be me, bro. Come on. But no Broncos fan here.
Arizona State great Jake Plummer.
Although I did root for the Broncos in that Super Bowl. Couldn't root against Marcus Ware. Those Cowboy fans were assholes. Fuck them.
Oh, the Peyton Manning one.
Yeah. The Peyton Manning Sucks Bowl. That was amazing, dude.
Oh yeah. No, that was
amazing.
A great Super Bowl.
And DeMarcus got his ring.
Good ring.
Great time. I was very happy about that. But anyway,
right? Denver Broncos legend. But yeah, other than that. Other than that, I think that covers the Broncos. I just wanted to talk about it and just how bad they are, and now they are on a fire sale. So here's hoping that Justin Simmons becomes a
Oh my
Philadelphia Eagle
God.
or
We're
Patrick
having a
Stan.
fire sale.
That's when you need like a little soundboard drop right there.
What about? Do they have
But
quarterbacks
who
for
knows?
sale?
Or
What's their backups?
in Minnesota,
No,
I don't think you'll
no.
get
What's
backups. I think it's
the
like
Broncos backup job?
uh,
Who I got to pick from?
Trevor Simeon?
no,
No,
I don't think you want that.
Simeon's
I
a
don't
Jet
think you
now,
want those
right?
problems.
Anyway, I'm just being an asshole to Dak, so let's move on.
You know what? I'll look up who their backup quarterback is.
Jared Stidham?
Jared Stidham?
You know, you wouldn't be the first one,
All
and you
right,
definitely
shit,
won't
fuck
be
it.
the last one.
Okay, we'll get Stidham.
Jared
in.
Stidham.
Hey, we'll get Stidham in, and then here, in case
He's
we
won a
got to
game
fire
before.
Fat Mike. If we got to fire Fat Mike, we already have his replacement potentially, right, Caesar?
Oh, come on. You were missing out on the best
You're right.
one. Mr. Upside Down Dallas had himself.
Oh, the Nooch.
It's been the
Oh,
Nucci
yeah. Bring the
time.
Nooch back.
The
I'm ready to
Nooch.
rock with the Nooch. The Nooch had YOLO.
XFL legend.
Showmanship.
He that sidearm is crazy. All right, now there is one thing that I want to tell our audience that we will be monitoring throughout the season, and that is Bill Belichick final season watch. Potentially, the Patriots right now, if the season ended today, would have. Oh no, go ahead.
I was just gonna say it's always bad when you have the worst loss of your 30-year career followed by the second worst loss of your 30-year career back to back. It's not a great sign.
Yeah.
And yep, and you know what? That's what happens when you hire just your friends and your family as coaches, because that's all the New England Patriots coaching staff is his son's running the defense. Joe Judge is fucking around, and I don't know what he's doing, but he's probably bitching and moaning. And then you have Bill O'Brien, the big old chin dude, just calling slants and drag routes for Mac Jones, who can't even do that right. So, Bill, I don't know what to tell you. You've fallen off pretty hard. But this probably only means that next season he's going to join the Los Angeles Chargers and take them to a Super Bowl.
No, here's what I want you to. Here's what I want to pitch
Wouldn't
you
that
guys
be the most fitting thing for them?
In a world where Fat Mike gets fired, and then Desperate Jerry rushes out and makes this decision,
take this job.
Here's where it's funny.
No
You're right,
way.
and here's why he wouldn't. But this is the funniest part if he did. The Bill Belichick show. I'm tuning in every week for that. Have you ever watched the Jason Garrett or Mike McCarthy shows? They're pretty bad.
Yes,
They're pretty
on the radio.
visible. Huh? Oh no, they're filmed. They are definitely filmed on its set too, and they are telecast on TX21, I believe.
Yeah,
CBS. I can't remember.
Bill's every week is just him breaking down like the special teams depth of the next week's opponent for about half an hour.
He does a monotone. Mike McCarthy's funny, dude. The Mike McCarthy show is hilarious because Mike wants to be a TV person so much, and he might get the opportunity soon, but it's just not his thing. It's just not his thing. It's funny, but yeah, it's one of the funnier parts of being a Cowboys coach. It's probably why most people would say no to the job, but imagine if Bill did actually do that. That would be must-watch TV, in my opinion.
I would laugh because it would remind me of the bit that you had going on during the off season. Whenever you're like, and next week we'll talk about the third string special teamers or this 6th round draft pick right here. I'm like, Bill Belichick would 100% do that. He would 100%, and he wouldn't do it as a bit. He's like, no, this is actually
currently doing that every week.
Mm-hmm. No, it would be funny, but yes, you're right. There's
this is
probably
great.
zero chance that ever happens, and probably doesn't need to happen for the best interest of the Dallas Cowboys as much as anything. Probably should just go ahead and let that one move forward,
and
in a different
probably
direction.
in Bill's interest too.
Yeah, I'm not sure who wins in that regard. It feels like that's an interesting marriage for sure.
Yeah, there's only one team where I could see him going. And I already mentioned them. I think that's the Chargers' next head coach. because I don't think
I feel like
Brandon
the
Staley
Giants
is
would
it.
hire him, honestly.
But who knows? Yeah, but that wouldn't do anything for them because, like,
they're
that
desperate
team
and
doesn't
keep
have.
doing Band-Aid stuff instead of fixing it. They're kind of like us. They're just going to keep Band-Aiding it instead of doing what they need to do.
Just watching Bill Belichick look at Daniel Jones and discuss it as the guy overthrows yet another wide receiver, or gets sacked for like the 20th
I might
time.
take Daniel over back right
just
now.
changing. Yeah, you're just changing the first name of the quarterback, and this one can kind of run. So
Yeah. Daniel Jones at least had a little more.
Yeah,
success.
yeah. Oh my god. Yeah, Daniel Jones can at least run around a little bit, but he's out now, and that Giants team has so many injuries right now. I wouldn't be shocked if they end up with like the first overall pick and they get Caleb Williams at the rate they're going. But we'll find out about that later because the season is still long. Who knows? Patrick could still maybe be right. Maybe Patrick's prediction of the New York Giants winning the NFC East could still happen in some weird, wacky way.
it's looking about as
Don't
good as
think that I
Becky's
forgot.
Bears prediction.
I don't know. My Bears still have a shot. They beat your Vikings. I might be back in business,
Hey.
son.
That's true. They have
Never
life
say never.
now. They have life now.
Never stopping, guys.
Let's forget that I picked the Seattle Seahawks to beat the 49ers in the NFC West division. Anyway,
But we even called that. You're just blind to the San Francisco hate. That's why you picked the Cowboys too. I picked the Cowboys last week, but I have to. You picked the Cowboys because you hate San Francisco, and you knew that ass whooping was at least potentially possible. So I'm just saying.
Possible, but I didn't think it was going to happen like that. I didn't think it was going to happen like that.
Well, that's fair. Respectable humans shouldn't, but unfortunately, that's not who we're dealing with. But I
got beef with their fan base more than anything. But listen, I just know that on December 3rd they're going to kick the Eagles' ass. That's probably what's going to happen. And then I'm at the eat crow. But whatever. Let's go ahead, fellas, and move on to the Watch It, Skip It, and Train Wreck
Time for another edition
part of the show.
Caesars. Watch it, skip it, or train wreck.
That's right, gentlemen.
I definitely thought that was going to be the one with music, but oh well.
Oh well.
Better
That's what post-production's for. Now, gentlemen, I'm going to present to you guys 2 games on each category, and we will vote on which one best fits the Watch It, Skip It, and Train Wreck. Let's start with the Watch It. I present to you these 2 games and the arguments for each game. Detroit versus Tampa Bay. You have the 4-1 Lions, the 3-1 Tampa Bay fighting Baker Mayfields. Gentlemen, why should this one be at the Watch It? Well, you have 2 teams with winning records. It's Baker Mayfield trying his hardest to be a good quarterback, which is always entertaining. Maybe not for the right reasons. And you could say, well, Caesar, this sounds like it's a train wreck. But it's also the Detroit Lions who just have such a great offense. They are looking like they're an actual contender in the NFC, despite Patrick's protests. This one, for me, is a game that looks like on paper it would be a bad game. And so as a reverse jinx, I'm putting it under the must watch because this one might just finally break my curse of must watch being duds. The next game that I present to you fellas, this is a real QB battle because now Joe Shiesty looks healthy. He's going up against Geno Smith and the Seattle Seahawks. Geno continuing to look every bit as good as he did from last season. This could finally be the game that breaks my curse as well. This could actually have high-scoring affairs. You have 2 good receiving cores on each side, 2 solid quarterbacks. The defense is iffy. This could be it. This could be the one. Gentlemen, which one do you pick and why? Becky.
Detroit, Tampa Bay,
What say you?
because Texas Ranger fan Baker Mayfield has got his career back on track, and I'm trying to see if the Detroit Lions are for real because the Bears are coming.
Okay.
Sick 'em.
I think the only The only reason that you'd watch Detroit Tampa is because Tampa's wearing that their retro creamsicle
Yep.
uniforms. Otherwise, I do think the Seattle Cincinnati
Ooh,
game was actually a real must watch, in my opinion.
No, Cincinnati looks like shit. I'm not gonna lie, but I hope y'all are right. But
haven't looked
yes,
great,
I was
for
gonna
sure.
pick that game, but then I was like, God damn! Every time I've seen Cincinnati this year, I've been like, this sucks worse than my team. How?
see, but you missed last week's game where they actually
That's
looked
true.
good.
I did miss last week's game. I did.
But I mean, that was kind of a thing when they
Which
made it to a
I
Super Bowl
believe
and
that
everyone was
Jamar Chase
like,
had
"Oh,
15
they're-
catches in that game.
It's okay,
Oh,
they
shit.
lost. They're gonna come."
Well, I guess he is always fucking open.
Especially when they force him the ball. Yeah,
Yeah.
Forcing the
Listen,
ball to
if-
your best player. A
If the Bengals
concept.
go on another deep playoff run after a now, if the Bengals do this again where they have a shitty start to the season and then go on a deep playoff run, I'm gonna be like Jesse Pinkman. I'm gonna look at the sky and be like, he can't keep getting away with this. Because they shouldn't be getting away with this.
They're the
but
Miami
they are
Heat of the
possibly.
NFL regular season. Is that what you're saying?
I think that's
Bengals
exactly
are
what I'm
fucking
saying.
around
Man.
through the regular season. I respect that.
They're just fucking around, and then the rest of the league is finding out. But yeah, this was they had a really good game against the Cardinals, 34-20. Yeah, it was the Cardinals, but also the Cardinals are a feisty team. They have some spunk. But not enough to stop Jamar Chase, who went off for 15 catches, 192 yards, and 3 TDs. And Joe Burrow had a bomb in that game, like an actual deep down the field pass that I didn't know he was physically capable of. So it looks like Joe Burrow's back in my eyes. And so with that said, I'm picking Detroit versus Tampa as the must-watch game for all the same reasons that Becky did. Let's go. That is your
must-watch. I'm trying to find out if I can buy into
If-
Detroit or not, for sure. And Tampa's not bad. Like, they're competent.
I think I
Baker's
can.
competent. They're probably going to win that division.
That defense is coming. Oh, 100%. At the rate that division is going, I can't trust anybody else in the NFC South. And
the Falcons kept themselves alive
and you know what?
this week.
They did. And Desmond Ridder had a really good game too. He looked like an actual NFL quarterback and not somebody that's being handcuffed by the coaching staff or by his own inability to throw the football.
Yeah, that's good.
Not yet. He's been saved for one more week. But we're not talking about the Falcons right now. We are talking about the games that we're going to skip this week, gentlemen. And these right here, there was a lot of games that I thought were skippable. These matchups on week 6 just don't look all that enticing. But these were the most egregious offenders for 2 different reasons. Let's start off with the Battle of New York State. The Giants against the Buffalo Bills. This looks like it's going to be an absolute ass whipping. The Bills come off a letdown game. The Giants, they suck. They're trash. They're ass. They're a dumpster fire. They're one of the worst teams in the NFL. I'm not saying that just because I hate the Giants. I'm saying that because it's objectively true. Giants fans, Daniel Jones sucks. Brian Dabble is not very good this year. That offensive line has been bad. Saquon Barkley, who is he supposed to run behind? Nobody, because that's all he has in front of him is a bunch of nobodies. That defense,
isn't he out too?
Season, highly overrated on
Barkley right now.
He's coming in back for this game.
Okay,
Barkley's coming back for this game.
It's a positive.
There was talks about him being ready for this game, and it doesn't matter if you don't have an offensive line to run behind, which he doesn't. And then, of course, that defense, again, is ass. It's trash. The Buffalo Bills will bounce back, and this won't be a competitive game, which is why I say you should skip it, unless you're really into watching blowout games, in which case this might just be for you. And then the next game, legitimately, there is nothing redeeming about either team. You can't tell me that there is. It's the New England Patriots against the Las Vegas Raiders, 2 of the worst offenses in the NFL. Josh McDaniels has no idea how to be a human being or a coach. And then Bill Belichick is on watched. He doesn't believe in his quarterback. I don't think he believes in anybody on that team right now. There is nothing worth watching in this game. There's no redeeming qualities that can be found anywhere unless you like Devontae Adams.
Come on,
and
Max
he's on your
Crosby.
fantasy team. That's it. That's the only thing that you could possibly talk into anybody. No, sorry, no. Max Crosby.
Come on, that dude just
Fun
won a
guy,
Monday Night Football game by
player.
himself, basically.
What? No.
Come on. He had Jordan. He had
against another bad
Love
team.
sack all-
That was still a bad Monday Night Football game.
That's why you need a guy like Max.
These are the
Crosby.
two games I
We're gonna use
prefer.
some bad games. I'm just saying.
Yeah, I don't know if he'll win this one.
Shout out
Maybe.
to the
I don't know,
DFW.
gentlemen. Is he from DFW?
Yeah, should have been a Cowboy, but we're
I didn't
too
know
busy
that.
fucking trying to find dudes with broken knees to repair.
There you go. Well, shout out to you, Max Crosby, DFW. But gentlemen, I need to hear it from you guys. You've heard my arguments for each game.
This is easy.
Which
for
one
me.
is the most must-skip watch?
Shout out to
Go for it,
Max
Patrick.
Crosby, like
Lead
I
the way.
said, but no, fuck that game. I'd much rather watch the Giants get embarrassed in front of. Well, it's probably in Buffalo, right? But yeah, no, I'd rather watch that.
Yeah,
Much
and
rather
it's
watch
I think it's the Sunday night game.
Oh,
This is
let's
another
go.
prime
I
time
need
ass
that.
whipping that
I
Giants
need
are
that
getting.
in my life.
Don't forget there's an American League Championship Series on Sunday. I'm gonna skip both those games. Those are both terrible games.
It's fair.
There's nothing else to say. Those are bad.
But
Skip
which
them
one
both.
is the
I'm
most
probably I'm going to be
must
suffering
skip?
through a baseball game at that
The
point.
most must skip is probably New England at Las Vegas, unless you're watching all the New England games, hoping to see the final Belichick game. But I doubt
The
he's
one where
getting,
he just says "fuck this shit."
I doubt he's getting let go mid-season unless he decides to walk away.
Which
Very
I don't
fair.
think he would, but that would be a story if he did. All right. Yeah, I'm just gonna go ahead and say it. New England versus Las Vegas, the most must skip game up to this point. You will not be disappointed by skipping this game. Now for the train wreck. And gentlemen, both of your teams are on this week's train wreck list.
Yeah, that kind of fucked
Why?
up. I'm not gonna lie. Even I'm
Let's
even
get
I'm
into
not
it.
that far off. Like, I don't-
Listen, these
No,
games are train wrecks
state
for
your
wildly
case,
different
state your
reasons.
case.
Minnesota? Yeah. The reason that the Dallas Cowboys are on this list is not because of the Dallas Cowboys themselves necessarily, though they could derail themselves into being a train wreck. You never know. Team psyche. But
Might be rooting for
like I said,
it.
this has
We'll
less
see.
to do with them and more to do with their opponent, the Los Angeles Chargers, one of the greatest train wrecks on earth. You just always get a weird game where they're fumbling the game away, losing games that they shouldn't lose, winning games that they shouldn't win. They bring the train wreck aspect in the most purest sense to this week's matchup with the Dallas Cowboys. It just feels right to put this in the train wreck list because you just don't know what kind of fuckery you'll get from these two teams, but especially the Chargers. And now, my case for the Minnesota Vikings versus the Chicago Bears. Why could this be a train wreck? Because the Chicago Bears,
That's the Chicago Bears.
look at the first 2 weeks. First 3
The
weeks.
division
Yeah,
champions.
the first
in
3
future.
weeks, have
The immediate future.
they were a dumpster fire of a team. Yes, future winners in the NFC North. Watch them finish ahead of the Vikings. That'd be funny. Not for you, Patrick, obviously, but for me, objectively, that would be a funny way for that thing to go. But listen, the Chicago Bears, these last 2 weeks looked like a functioning NFL team with a real offense and a real quarterback. Can they keep it up against a bad Minnesota defense that loves to blitz the shit out of the opposing team? Can Justin Fields even handle a blitz? I don't fucking know. I don't think anybody knows. Despite us seeing 3 seasons now of him playing football. That's why this game's going to be a train wreck, because you don't know what the fuck you're going to get from two bad teams going up against each other in this divisional rivalry where the Minnesota Vikings can't hold on to the goddamn ball, and then the Chicago Bears, you just don't know if that coaching staff comes in and actually knows what they're doing or is inept as they were the first 3 weeks of the season. These are my reasons. Fellas, what say you? Patrick, I'm going to pass the ball off to you on this one. What are you thinking?
Yeah.
Kind of feels like this is doubling on our next one too. So I guess kind of answer it like that too, right? And then we can just do Philly.
Yeah, we could double dip.
Yeah.
Yeah, we can do that.
I don't really expect either of these games to be a complete train wreck. I think Vikings Bears is just gonna be boring. And I think Cowboys Chargers, you're probably going to get a good amount of offense. I think the Cowboys are going to bounce back pretty hard, if not for just 1 week at least, especially against Kellen Moore. Maybe I just keep yeah.
But if you had to pick one,
if these are the two, because you decided these two,
yeah. It just felt right. I looked at that schedule and it just felt right.
Like, you didn't think that like Cardinals Rams might be a train wreck, or like
not
Carolina
really.
Miami.
That might actually be
Washington's playing Atlanta this week.
There's Indy and Jacksonville. I don't know.
I thought that was boring. Listen, these just felt right. I looked at it in my football.
Indy Jacksonville probably is boring.
I'll say the Cowboy game just to move on.
Fair enough. Yeah, I definitely don't think that you're gonna have. There's just no way you can really look away from the Dallas Cowboys, no matter what, even if it is a train wreck. So you know that game will be the one we're all interested in. I feel good about them giving me a hope. I feel like they're going to try to pull me back in. The all whites, we're in our real home field advantage. You know, the stadium and the city that actually loves us more than our own city. And I think this in Kellen Moore, you know, standing there, Fat Mike, Dak, you know, they both get a chance to tee off on him. I think it could work. At the same time, I think that this defense is talking a lot of cool shit, but like, I don't know, they sustained a fuck ton of injuries. The run defense looks like doo-doo.
They need an offense that keeps the defense a little bit off the field.
Oh, no doubt. 3 and Dak. Yeah, I know. I understand. 3 and Dak has been a thing for way too long. I called it last night. So I called it on Sunday night too. I said, here comes the 3 and Dak. So there you go. Or Dacking out. That's what I called it. Dacking out. Yeah. So there you go.
So it sounds like you're picking the Cowboys Chargers games as the train wreck of the week.
No. The Minnesota Chicago game is a train wreck because it's like who turns the ball over less is the winner. The Cowboys Chargers game might be who plays defense the most, which is slightly less train wrecky. At least it's more exciting for the highlight reel. Minnesota, Chicago, we're probably going to be watching Kirk Cousins throw a 98-yard pick six, or interception is going to go to the 2, and then Justin Fields is going to fumble the ball, and that's going to get it returned for a touchdown. That's how the game ends.
That's a good one. That's a good point. And you actually talked me into picking the Minnesota Vikings and Chicago Bears as the most likely to be the train wreck of the week. And now let's just go into the preview section. We kind of already talked about both those games, but just to kind of give my thoughts on how they're going to go with the Chargers game against the Cowboys, Kellen Moore revenge game. I think the way that the beginning of the game is going to go, Kellen Moore is going to try to make Cowboy fans miss him. But you can't trust Brandon Staley, and I don't think you can trust Kellen Moore either. They're going to make this game a lot more interesting than it should be for them. And I think the Dallas Cowboys, wanting to erase the memory of Sunday Night Football, are going to do their damnedest to put out their best performance of the year. I think they're going to walk away with this one. It is their home field advantage of after all. There's going to be a lot of silver and blue in that stadium, and none of that blue is going to be the Chargers' powder blue. So I think they walk away with the win in that game. It's hard to kind of like gauge what the score might be because they could go both teams could go off for offensive explosions, or it could be just a defensive battle that could be a snooze fest if you look at it from a box score perspective. So I think they're somewhere in the middle. I think this game ends 23-20 in the favor of the Dallas Cowboys. And then as far as the Minnesota Vikings, Chicago Bears go, I'm like, they're starting to reel me back in and making me believe in Justin Fields again. But I have to see it a third straight week. Minnesota is just the king of one-score games. Whether they win them or lose them, they just find themselves in them constantly. This is going to be another one of those games. I want to believe in Justin Fields continuing to take the right steps in his progression towards being a legit NFL starter. But I just think Minnesota this week wins the game 17-16. Another one-score game. Those are my predictions on those two games.
Way to do it. Only one fumble this week for Minnesota. 3
They only had one last week.
That's what I'm saying. Just keep that progress. One per game is manageable. It's improvement.
Indeed, it is.
And
now we look into.
But sorry, I was about to just say
the Philadelphia Eagles. The Philadelphia Eagles against the New York Jets. This is, on paper, not a great matchup for the New York Jets because they just lost Elijah Vera-Tucker, their best offensive lineman at right tackle. They're dealing with a whole host of injuries across that entire defense and offense. I don't see really on paper how a Zach Wilson-led team beats this Eagles team, especially if they're clicking on all cylinders like they were last week. This game might just be boring in general. Like, I don't even think the Eagles blow this team out. I just don't think that the game is ever really in question because you just don't know what you're gonna get in terms of a full performance from the Jets on offense, defense, and special teams. They've had only one game where all sides were firing on all cylinders, and I don't think this is going to be a game for them. Mekhi Becton, questionable. Billy Turner, questionable. Those are two offensive linemen. Elijah Vera-Tucker, guard, on injured reserve. And then they have one of their corners, Justin Hardy, questionable. DJ Reed, another questionable. There's just injuries all along this Jets team. I just think the Eagles run the ball down the throat of the New York Jets, and they put up like a 24-10 game or 24-14. I don't know. What do you guys think? We'll end it with rolling. The hype train keeps. You just want this team to blow their load, but they're nowhere near the climax yet.
Oh, I don't think you know how the climax works.
I've seen this Eagles team enough to know when they're about to bust that nut, and sir, they still have some time.
No, this is a historic run. This is chasing destiny for the Philadelphia Eagles. They are putting everything they can into winning games. They're not losing games. They're not some chump franchise. The Philadelphia Eagles are about to steamroll the competition again this week.
Do you see what I have to deal with right now, Patrick? Do you see this? And also, I know you were being a little facetious, but it is actually a historic start for this franchise because never in my almost 31 years on this planet have I ever seen the Eagles have 5-0 starts in back-to-back seasons. I'm not used to this. It doesn't feel real to me. I'm a pessimistic Eagles fan by nature, so I'm just like, ain't no fucking way.
Remember when the Chiefs and Trent Green went
12-0
to start a season and then fucking lost the first playoff game?
I don't actually remember that, but I do remember the 11-0 Steelers doing that.
Yeah, that was more recent. The Kansas
So-
City one was nasty. That was like they had Dante Hall and everything. We really thought it was over. We're like, oh, Kansas City's got it. Yeah, it was
Oh.
tough. Anyway.
Dante Hall. They had Priest Holmes in the prime. Was that the Priest Holmes one, or was that the Larry Johnson?
I think they would have had Priest and Larry Johnson at this point. Or maybe Larry Johnson was the next season. But yeah, very talented.
Because they were on the same. They were on the team together at the same time. However, Priest Holmes just got hurt. Larry Johnson took over, and we never saw Priest again.
Mhm. And Larry Johnson became a conspiracy theorist on the internet. The more you know.
Oh, did he? That's unfortunate. That's either way.
Shit happens.
Patrick, what do you think about this game? True.
Should be fun.
It's not a very sexy matchup.
I mean, watching the Jets defense against the Eagles offense should at least should be cool. If both show up and play their normal game, that will be where the fun lies. I think the Eagles should win it. Probably, but we'll just call it like 21-17.
Another win for the Eagles, the new Mean Green. I think they should also adopt the call.
Now, if they, in the next 48 hours trade for Kirk Cousins in New York, then maybe we can talk about that being different. But
that would be a hell of a turnaround. Fucking throw.
I don't think
right
he would
on
even
out
play in that game.
that would be amazing.
Right in the middle of the
I don't know. Remember when the
man would
Vikings
have one practice.
Josh Freeman and just threw him in on like Monday Night Football that day?
Oh, Josh Freeman.
Oh,
God,
I
damn
do
it.
remember that. That one was.
Speaking
of worst
quarterbacks,
You're right. You know what? And then Baker Mayfield last year had like 24 hours to get ready for a game or something crazy like that.
Yeah, that's true. Playfield had to go from a Carolina
when
Panther
he got
jersey
traded
to the Rams.
Rams.
Right? Did he play on 3 teams last year? Or am I tripping? Was it just 2? It was just
I think it's
Panthers,
just
Rams?
two.
Okay, well, maybe I'm.
No,
tripping.
you're right. I think he did play for 3
What
teams.
did you join?
Oh no, he's played for 3 teams in less than a year.
Yeah, because
In less than the calendar year, he's been a part of 3 rosters.
He's found honestly, like as much
Panthers,
as we've been
Rams,
making a joke,
and the Bucs.
he might have he
mean,
might
there's
be able
no
to hold on
reason-
to the Tampa Bay job.
There's no reason for the Browns to move on from him. That was their mistake. So
I'm sorry, we have to trade for a fucking smooth hands McGee, jazz hands McGee,
Masseuse. A masseuse
Slippery
enthusiast,
fingers.
if you will. I think we've been recording enough time now. Gentlemen, thank you for sitting through this football segment with me. Our audience at home, thank you. Well, yet again for another great episode of Pass the Rocks Football Show. Other than that, enjoy Randall Cunningham in the top right corner, the spiritual leader of the Pass the Rock podcast. And then I will possibly see you guys next week. I will be at a Travis Scott show. Maybe even I'll tune in live during the set.
that would be
gotta try
hilarious if we can, at least attempt it.
We gotta try it.
I will definitely. I'll always do it for the bit. Never underestimate my commitment to the bit.
And then we'll live stream us, and we'll say that we're doing a live stream of the Travis Scott
No, honestly though, low-key, that might not be the worst way to just say fuck it and try to get some cheesy, some bullshit clicks on YouTube. I'm just saying.
We'll see. We'll see what
Taylor
happens.
Swift
Sports
news.
podcast. Oh, no. I don't know if that'll be Taylor Swift news, and I have no Taylor Swift news.
No, we have. That's what we'll do. We'll only cover the Lakers, the Yankees, the Cowboys,
And Taylor Swift.
and Taylor Swift. Who's the hockey team? Was it be
All right.
Toronto or is it Boston? Would that be the better grab?
I don't know. Chicago has the worst fans. Let's go with
Chicago.
Okay.
Okay, say Chicago. Well, we weren't looking for worst fans. That was mean. We were looking for just popular team. But I'll accept that.
Well, on that note, I think my brain is fried, so
All right.
I'm gonna hit this and then
Mine
end it.
too.
Deuces.
All right. Later, y'all.
Later.
Later.